Alright guys, welcome to your 13th HTML5 tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be finishing styling our awesome website. So what I want to do is just a couple quick things. This is probably going to be a quick tutorial, and the very first thing I want to do is I want to style these articles. So I want to give each of these articles their own border and background and padding. So in order to do that, I need to go ahead and style this crap right here. So what I'm going to be doing is take note of this. I'm not going to be styling the overall section because whenever we start, yeah, right there, kind of got lost there. Whenever we styled the main section, that was pretty much to lay out the entire overall, I don't know, this entire overall section right here. However, I want to style each individual article. So in order to do that, if we look at our HTML file, we have these individual article tags, so that's where we're going to be styling. So let's go ahead and in our CSS, go ahead and just type article, and now we can apply the properties to each individual article. For example, we can give each one a background color, and let me give it like a nice peach color, guys. So that should be something light. And also, let me give it a border. Let's see, what border would we go to that? A red border maybe. So border equals 1 pixel solid red, not nerd, red. That's a little bit better. And I also want to give a padding because I want some space between the text and the border. So I'm going to give it an overall padding of 20 pixels. Now another thing is this padding, it isn't going to affect the spacing and mess up the overall flow of our layout. So that's another reason that I like to style within the article itself. It's only going to affect the padding of the content itself. And another thing I want to do is I want to change the margin on the bottom. So margin, and just like border top, you can do margin bottom, margin bottom. You can also do margin top, left, right. By the way, you probably would have guessed that. And let me just give it like 15 pixels or something. And this is pretty much going to separate it from the other article underneath it. So now, if I go ahead and refresh this, and refresh it, I can see that each of my articles now has a nice peach background, a red border, and that margin 15, this is what that is right here. It pretty much gives it some spacing between each article, and if we were to put another one under this, then there would be a margin as well. So the only other thing I want to adjust is this, my little signature written by Bucky Roberts. Usually whenever you're writing an article, this appears on the right hand side and underneath it a little bit. So I just want to go ahead and text align our little signature to the right. Now if we say written by Bucky Roberts, let's go ahead and hop over into our HTML. And our written by Bucky Roberts is actually part of the footer. Not only the footer, but it's part of the article's footer. As you can see, the footer is a child of article. So this is what I'm going to do, and this is one of the cool things about having a footer inside the article. So instead of a footer like this, don't do that because I think in this case we have a footer outside. So if we were to try to align that to the right, it's going to try to align this. So what we want to do is we want to say, okay, we want to work with the footers, but only the footers in the articles. So if you go ahead and hit article footer, that's going to only apply the style to the footers in the articles. So let me just go ahead and text align right, and hopefully if I didn't mess anything up and go to my website, bam, check it out. This footer is still center aligned, however the article footers are now on the right. So that is the effect that I wanted, and pretty much our website is laid out awesomely now. And again, I want to mention this before you guys think that I'm just a terrible web designer, because I am, but in the case that these colors are really awfully, they don't flow at all. Whenever you're making a website, then you typically want all the colors to be similar, not the same, but kind of in the same, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know what word I'm going for, kind of like similar color scheme. That's what I'm looking for, the same color scheme. So the reason that I had this yellow and dark blue and peach was just so you guys could see. But typically when you're making a website, make sure it's in the same color scheme and not this random crap right here. So anyways, in the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you the brand new flexible model or excuse me, I think it's called the flexible box model technique. So this technique is called the traditional box model. It's pretty much how I laid out all my websites in the past because it's a really easy and simple way to get a nice layout. However, HTML5 and CSS3 came up with this new thing called flexible box model, and they're actually still incorporating it into browsers right now. So we need to add some little tricks before we start working with it. But I'm going to be talking about all that in the next tutorial. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.